So next fight, we are onto the main card already, just cruising, and we got a good one. And I'm just going to tell you guys, this is going to be a banger. We're going to see some guys slinging some heat. Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez. Guru, why don't you start us off here?
Yeah, man. Like you said, this is a great fight. We got kind of Jonathan Martinez. He's trying to get that signature win. He got a win over Frankie Saenz his last fight, which was a good win, but kind of aging veteran. Almeida, he's coming back. He's, a fan favorite action fighter. So this will be a big win if Martinez can get the win. And I see, a lot of people are pretty confident in Jonathan Martinez coming in here. And, I could see why. Obviously, Almeida's coming in almost 2 years off. And, he had a knockout loss coming off of the layoff as well. So he's coming in here off of a loss, but I still feel like he's seen a way better fighters than Jonathan Martinez, man. I mean, he's been in there even in his last fight with Rob Font, with Cody Garbrandt, with Jimmy Rivera. I mean, guys that are like in the top 5 of the division, whereas you look at Jonathan Martinez, he fought Frankie Saenz, but he's fighting like Luigi Burin and people like that. So it's way, way lower level. So it's going to be a pretty sizable step up for Jonathan Martinez, in my opinion. And Martinez, he's a southpaw, really good kicks. And obviously those knees are super dangerous. I think he has like 4 or 5 knockouts with the knees and got another one in his last fight. But if you go back, you watch the fight with Andre Sukumtat, he didn't really do well in boxing range and exchanges. He was getting ripped to the body a lot. And that's what Almeida does, man. I mean, he closes that distance. He wants to get right in your face, force boxing exchanges, and, throw all these crazy attacks. And, man, I feel like his chin is not that great, but it's because he puts himself in so many exchanges, man, where he's just, trying to roll with the punches, things like that. And you're going to get hit sometimes, especially when you're fighting guys like Cody Garbrandt, Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font. And I feel like this is, a kind of a significant step down in competition. And if he can just close that distance on him and get in his face, force the boxing exchanges, I think he's going to have a big advantage there. He looked in really good shape at the weigh-ins. He's went to, he trained at Extreme Couture. So, he's taken some time off, but it's not like he's old. So I do think he can come in here and maybe even have, some improved skills as well. And I do feel like he's the better grappler in the matchup too. So I don't think he's going to go to the grappling, but if he wants to, or maybe he wants to show a new wrinkle in his game, I think he could do that. So I'm just give me Thomas Almeida here to get the win inside the distance. I feel like he'll probably be able to, get the finish here. Andre dropped Jonathan Martinez twice, even though Martinez has never been finished. I just don't think he's fought anyone like Thomas Almeida yet. And I think this is kind of going to be like not like a rude awakening for Martinez, but I think it'll be a good learning lesson for him to come in here. And I think Almeida will get the win, though.
Cody Saftik, let him know.
Yeah, well, they call him the MMA prediction guru for a reason. He nailed it with the boxing. Honestly, I think that's the key here. When you look at Thomas Almeida, he's been having these troubles, and we talk about maybe he's chinny, maybe he hasn't looking that good. He's fighting guys that have a superior boxing edge on him specifically. Cody Garbrandt, we all know about his boxing acumen. He's got sharp hands. So here's the thing with Thomas Almeida. He's a classically trained shoot-to-box Muay Thai stylist from Curitiba. He's plotting. He's on his feet. He moves forward. Guys that are sharp technical boxers will be able to intercept him and land clean on him. Guys that rely on kicks, it's not going to make that big of a difference because he's going to be chopping down at you. He's going to be bobbing and weaving and try to unload his hooks on you. You got to be quick and linear, sharp, straight punches. You have to have a good jab. You have to have a good clean right down the pipe. Unless you're southpaw, then you have a good clean left down the pipe. But you got to be sharp and linear with it. When you lose to Cody Garbrandt, that one's fine. The Jimmy Rivera fight, well, Jimmy's more of a kicker himself, but he's 5'4". He's got sharp hands. He keeps everything tight. It gave Almeida too much trouble. And then going to the Rob Font fight, Rob Font has good, sharp, technical boxing. I think that's what's kind of been frustrating Almeida, so to speak. Then you also factor in that him weighing in at 135 pounds, man, he always looks sick. He's a guy that routinely would wear sunglasses to the weigh-ins because, his eyes are sunken in the eye sockets. Just doesn't look good, kind of looks sickly. Him being off for 2 years, that's going to at least give his head a little bit of time to rest up. The difference between 27 and 29 is all skill improvements, theoretically. And him moving up to 145 could be a very key difference here. Maybe he can take the punches a bit better now. Maybe he feels a bit better now. Maybe he's got a little more energy now. Maybe his strikes are a little bit better now. But I think that's where he's going to have a lot of success against Martinez. Martinez is not known for his hands. In fact, he was soundly outboxed by Andre Ewell and Andre Sukumantath. The Uhl fight, yeah, Uhl's long, but it's the boxing that gets him, the jab that gets him. He does technically get knocked down twice, but I mean, he does at the end of the day get outstruck. And I cried robbery because I had Jonathan Martinez in that spot. Man, what a bum decision. But like, what world is Andre Uhl beating Thomas Almeida and you have to scream robbery? It just goes to like opponent difference, man. Thomas Almeida was once a 2.5 to 1 favorite over Cody Garbrandt. People really thought he'd be a title contender. People thought sky's the limit for this guy. And he's had some bum beats based on some bad style clashes. Now to think 2 years off the improvements that he could have theoretically made, training in Las Vegas, really looking good at the weigh-ins, I think he goes out there, doesn't get clipped by Martinez's hands. Martinez has got awesome kicks, don't get me wrong. But that's where that Curitiba shoot-to-box style will play dividends. They don't mind you kicking from a distance because they'll just chop away at you, forward pressure, more aggression. If Martinez results on running away and backing away side to side, I ultimately think the judges will probably end up siding with Thomas Almeida. So I'm going to take Almeida. The only one question mark is you don't love betting anybody 2 years off. We'll talk about Brian Ortega in the main event. 2 years off is a long time for anybody. Yeah, we can all assume they've made improvements, but it's a little bit difficult to bet your hard-earned money on just on the assumption that they've made the improvements. But I do agree with everybody else here for the most part. Yeah, I think Thomas Almeida should have leveled up, should have upgraded a bit. And the way that he matches up against Jonathan Martinez, I don't mind it whatsoever. So Martinez seems to be everybody's darling right now. But give me a shot on Thomas Almeida.
There you go. DFS, what are you thinking, man?
I'm really looking forward to this fight. This is probably my pick for fight of the night outside of the main event here. It's going to be a absolute war, mostly on the Thomas Almeida side. And Martinez has been looking really good as well, but there's a big difference going from 50-year-old Frankie Saenz to Thomas Almeida. So I think this is going to look a lot different. And Almeida is someone who has taken that 2-year layoff, but I actually think it's going to help him a lot. He was someone who looked like he was getting knocked down in pretty much every one of his fights. I think his chin hopefully is a little bit better here, and they touched on it a lot. Like Almeida is going to have the better hands than Martinez here. So it's going to be a really good fight. At the beginning of the week, I thought I might have had a live dog here with Martinez. I saw a bunch of people jumping on him at those dog odds. And actually, the line went like to a pick'em there. I wish I would have jumped on Almeida because now all of a sudden the line is like minus 140, Thomas Almeida. So a lot of money is coming in on the guy. I definitely agree with it. I think he's the better fighter by a decent margin. And this is a big, big, big step up in competition for Jonathan Martinez here. And I'm someone very high on Jonathan Martinez. He's someone who's won me a decent amount of money against Frankie Saenz. I had him by KO in that fight. He knocked him out like 3 times in that fight. So, yeah, it's going to be a war. Give me Almeida here. Almeida inside the distance is like plus 160. This is a dude that's finished pretty much all of his fights besides one, a 95% finish rate. So that plus 160, if I was to take a shot on this, it'd probably be that inside the distance line there. But, yeah, Almeida should get it done. I think he's the better fighter, and I'm really looking forward for this one.
Boy, I tell you what, DFS, I think we saw this fight just about the same. I really came into this week thinking, man, Martinez plus money. I like that spot quite a bit. Boy, I tell you what, dug in, did the research, watched the tape. We got a big layoff for Almeida. I mean, we keep calling it 2 years. I mean, it's 33 months, man. We're only 3 months away from this being a 3-year layoff. I tell you what, though, I came away from the research saying to myself, Martinez, a guy that, hasn't looked good early on in his career, but a guy that we're seeing some growth, a guy that I really think's improving, a guy that's upped his training, a guy that's gotten pretty dangerous. But, who are we seeing this guy have success again? Again, it's against older, lower-level competition. I mean, guys losing a split decision to Andre Ewell not even a year ago. That ain't going to do it for me. Like we talked about the level of competition Thomas Almeida's losing to. Champions, upper echelon guys, even Rob Font has really come around. I mean, Rob Font is a really good fighter at this point. I feel like Thomas Almeida is going to have declined from where we saw him last to lose this fight. And I don't think we're going to see a declining Thomas Almeida. I think we're going to see as good, if not a better Thomas Almeida. He's taken some knockouts. He's taken the necessary time off. Am I concerned about the layoff? Oh, absolutely. Are you crazy to bet on a guy that's been out of the game for 33 months? You might be a little bit crazy, but you know what? I might be a little bit crazy. After hearing these guys, guess what? I'm pulling the trigger. Give me Thomas Almeida. I feel good about him. Minus 125, 130, wherever he's at. I like it. Not going to touch a prop. I feel like we're getting close enough to even money at that number. Give me Thomas Almeida outright. As soon as we're done with this video, I'm going to pull the trigger on Thomas Almeida because I think some more money is going to come in on this kid. I like the feel. I like the breakdown from you guys. There we go. So that's going to be a good fight to kick us off on the main card. I can tell you that.